Home from home. People where I work honestly can't get their heads around the fact that I'd purposefully get pleasure out of sitting in a muddy field, waiting on the off chance that ducks might just fly over my head, only for me to just miss them. But yeah, where would you rather be? So we're going to give the geese a go if they flight off, which I think is unlikely because I don't think there's any geese on the marsh presently. I think after speaking to a couple of friends in the fowling game, I think they're on the next marsh north and they're flighting north to feed, so they're never coming this way. So I wondered why I haven't seen anything in the last couple of weeks. I just think they're somewhere else. Very enigmatic, the old grey lag flock, and totally unpredictable. There's a tide, a fairly biggish tide, about 2.5 hours after sunrise, so we're just going to wait straight through, and when it gets light in half an hour or so and they're sure there's no geese, we'll just put a few decoys out. I haven't brought many just for today, just trying to travel light, but bought a few teal decoys and a couple of spinny winged things. So yeah, 2 flights for the price of 1, hopefully, or at least 1. It's quite a dull, muggy, drizzly day, which the widgeon normally like, or it seems to make them more comfortable with coming inland. But as I've learnt with widgeon over the years, I just cannot predict what they'll do, so I won't be surprised if we see 100 or none, or anything in between. When I walked in, there was some mallard flighting from the stubble fields back towards the estuary, so I might just tomorrow just sit in those gorse bushes and see if they follow the same path, and we might get a couple of nice fat corn-fed mallard to take home. So brought out the new Yildiz wildfowler with me. This isn't actually the first time I've used it in anger. I have been out a couple of times after the ducks and with some success, which you'll see on upcoming films. Feels comfortable. The stock length feels about right. It's about 14.5 inches. I like a shorter stock than probably a gun fitter would recommend for me. I've got the Mandel chokes in. We gave a few chokes a try, including teak, titanium chokes and the factory chokes, and these Mandel ones seem to throw the nicest most even patterns at 30 yards and 40 yards, so I've gone with them. I think it's cylinder and skeet. So yeah, confidence is returning. It's amazing what a new gun and a bit of confidence and a few successful shots can do for you. So yeah, that's the gun. A right assortment of ammo. We've got some big heavy 1.5 ounce duplexes for the geese. We'll load up a couple of them and put up with the punishment. You don't care about recoil if there's geese above you. And then for the tide flight on the ducks, I've got 1 ounce TSS number 9s. I have 2 different powder types, one with long shot, one with tight wad. I prefer the tight wads, to be honest. So far they're a bit less loud and they don't wallop your shoulder quite as much. The speeds seem to be roughly similar, about 1300 feet a second. So we'll go with 3-inch duplex, 1.5 ounce or 42 gram TSS and steel mixture for the geese. That's 1 ounce of TSS, and just to fill up the case, whacked in another 1/2 ounce of number 3 zinc plated steel. It's very quiet goose wise as expected, but there's all manner of bird life moving about though. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, there's all manner of bird life moving about and a lot of ducks coming back in off the fields. So I've taken note of the flight lines and I might just give them a rattle tomorrow morning. So these are Mojo flickers, an American invention. I managed to pick them up very cheaply in a local auction recently. In fact, I stole them, to be honest, because they cost quite a fair bit of money new. So I've got 4 of these. They're very popular for mourning dove decoying over in the States, but apparently people use them for ducks and teal, etc. So just as an extra form of visual attractant, we'll put them out. I have adapted a couple of the mallard decoys to have one of these sat on the back. Won't use them today, but in an upcoming film we'll have them sat on the back of a couple of duck decoys, just to give it an extra bit of flash out in the water. It's always the way. Every time I stop to put some decoys out, the geese come over, a flock of geese. That's twice this morning it's happened. I should learn just to hold the gun at all times, but there actually is a flight of geese. They came from further up the valley, so I guess these big tides are maybe pushing them up to root. Maybe these big tides are pushing them to roost further up the valley, but yeah, I've just taken note of the time. Came out through this flat bit. They were coming wide of me anyway, to be honest, those ones. But hey, I know for tomorrow morning, I think we'll go and sit over there somewhere handy. Another little beauty. What a little cracker. Nice and fat too. You can't beat that. Well, that's going to do it for today. Quite a nice little flight. Fairly quiet. Just a few teal coming up the creeks. No widgeon at all, or mallard. Well, that's going to do it for today. Quite a nice little flight. Just a few teal knocking about up and down the creeks. No widgeon or mallard there. It's very quiet. They're all just staying on the main estuary. Geese came up and down a bit wide and took me by surprise, but I might set up for those tomorrow morning. Try and see if we can get underneath them. But no, quite a pleasant way to spend the morning, and now we'll push off and go and have some lunch. not the highest tide. It'd probably be better with a bit more water that'll fill these areas. It was barely coming over the creek today, so slightly bigger tide might bring more widgeon in. So we'll see you on another tide. Thanks very much for watching. If you've made it this far, you might be keen enough to hit that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner, and even the notification button. That'll just warn you when there's more of this content coming up, and I'll see you soon.